Hi everyone. Welcome to another exciting episodes of Words Unveiled Author Conversation with White Falcon. I am Nancy Gupta, your host from team of White Falcon Publishing, and today we have a young author with us, Hena Channa, author of the book Solace of the Sonnets. Hi Hena, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Nancy.
So your book is a beautiful collection of haikus paired with illustrations, capturing experiences over a year. So, what inspired you to create this unique blend of poetry and art?
See, honestly, I think 2023 has been the year of self discovery for me. And while I've always been inspired by art, but it kind of activated a lot in the last year. And I've already written a book, but I wanted to write another one, which would be related to what I'm experiencing in life. So it was like a meditation kind of an experience for me, and that's why I kind of articulated it in poetry.
Okay. So, haiku is a traditional Japanese form of poetry, right? With a very specific structure. So, how did you find working with this format? So, did it present any particular challenge or a reward?
Funny story. I even came across haiku while I was researching for a client, which was a Japanese restaurant, and it was for copywriting for them. And that's when I realized, like haiku poetry is for a layman to understand. It's just 3 lines. So writing a poem in 3 lines is a very challenging thing because for any writer, not just me, but any poet, in fact, it's always challenging because you have so many feelings inside you that need to be articulated in certain words. So when you're putting it down in just 3 lines, that's the real challenge. But I think it is worth the reward because when the poem comes out in a way which kind of leaves your reader to think about things, I think that is when you kind of experience it all.
So, can you elaborate a bit about this haiku structure, like how it goes while writing?
See, ideally, haiku is very inspired by nature. For instance, if I'm talking about something I'm feeling, I won't directly talk about it, but I'll use metaphors. I'll kind of relate it to nature, be it rain, be it summer, be it winters, all of that. And I'm not just saying the overlaying nature or seasons. I'm talking about the little things. For instance, flowers, leaves, the rustling sound of leaves. There are a lot of if you read through my poems, I've divided it into 4 seasons, and I've emphasized on all the little elements that fall under those seasons. So that is where my inspiration lies. And ironically so, I have written most of these poems while sitting in my balcony. Okay. So it's directly from the resource, so that way.
Also, I would like to add that haiku has transcended its Japanese origin and become a popular form of poetry worldwide. Poets in many languages and cultures have adopted and adapted the form of their own literary traditions. So, yes,
Correct.
Your book spans a year of experiences. Can you share how its temporal element influenced your writing?
See, when it comes to writing, I've been kind of, even if it's poetry or it's just, blogs or whatever, I've been writing since the past 14 years or so. Like even when I passed out from school, then I did projects with a couple of brands. I've had the gratitude to work with such great brands across the B2B and B2C space. So, be it a blog, be it social media writing, it's always been inspiring in certain ways because I'm not just writing for a product, I'm writing for a brand, the personality. So, when you're writing for so many people or you're writing for so many institutions, you learn how to talk in their language. That's what inspires your understanding of the world. It's like, it kind of diversifies my perception in that way. So in that sense, I think that's been my biggest takeaway from that experience.
Okay, so as just you mentioned that you write for other big brands, right? So how writing for your own book is different between writing for others? Like, what is the major, kind of difference you have noticed while writing for your own book, and that is in haikus format?
Specific to this book, because we're talking about haiku, I think when you're writing for a brand, you kind of, for me, how I write for any brand is that I put myself in its place and I use the language in a way in which a layman audience would understand. not specifically your ideal audience, not your target audience per se. But when you're writing for yourself, and when it's specific to this book itself, haiku poetry, it I've kept the tonality as very poetic and very Shakespearean, so to say, because the kind of audience I'm looking at, even if when if I would take you through the concept of the book, while it is a haiku book, but it's very inspired by theater. It's very inspired by Shakespeare's understanding of literature. Like even if it's the cover of the book, or even if it's the structure of the book, like when you go through plays or when you read through plays, you see there's an act 1, there's an act 2,
Right.
act 3. So the divided chapters of my book are also like that. They're like act 1 is the season of spring and summer, act 2 is the season of monsoon, then there's winter, and so on and so forth. So that bit is one part of it. And secondly, it's helped me, like I'm someone who is expressive when it comes to writing, but not someone who's expressive when it comes to verbal communication on a personal level, not professional but personally. So I think that has been like a very evolving challenge for me. That I've learned how to articulate my own feelings in words and write them down as poems.
Very nice. So, you mentioned that your early life was spent immersing yourself in fiction, developing your writing skills from a young age. Even your book has also been featured in various editorial pieces and on online platform. So, how did these experiences shape your approach to poetry?
I think I started reading when I was in kindergarten.
Okay.
In fact, I even pulled up one of my old books from school time, the storybooks that I started reading, be it Sleeping Beauty, be it Jack and the Beanstalk, all of those old folk books. And my first novel was in 4th standard, which was Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. After that, I think I fell for fiction. I've read anything you name, be it Famous Five, Secret Seven. In fact, I have a couple of books here as well. There's Famous Five, the collection that I've read all series. Then Enid Blyton, which has been a big part of me growing up. Although, I come from a traditional Indian family, but I've always aspired to live in a hostel, to live in that international format. And I've lived in Paris for a while as well, like over my college years. But when your inspiration comes from childhood, it kind of grows with you. So books have always been a part of my life in that sense. And that is why, I've been all about fiction. I've tried reading non-fiction as well, but I think fiction helps me expand my creativity, which helps me professionally and personally.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's where it kind of fits in. So yeah,
it gives you a platform to explore and give beyond limits you can go to like in your thoughts. So
correct.
Yeah. So okay. So after this, we would love to hear some of your haikus. Would you be able to read a few from your book itself?
Yeah, sure. To select and pick, I think it would be difficult, but I've still pulled out 5 of them, which I think I kind of felt were the most impactful ones. The first one is from from Act 1,
Okay.
Which is the summer season. More of reds than a rose, or white than a dove. Oh, how real is love. So, it's very crisp, but it talks about the density of love through, like, it could be deeper than the colors of a rose or the colors of a dove, so that way. And the second one is from the monsoon section, Act 2, which is, why can't I slip? But why would you? For just like the rain, I must pour.
Very
So
nice.
that's that. And the third one is from the fall season. Now, for those who know and those who don't, it's an FYI. When it's the fall season, the moon is going through a neutral phase where there are a lot of transitions in the journey of the moon, size of the moon, the shape of the moon. So I took moon into inspiration as well when I wrote this one.
Okay.
I'm a lucid soul, and just like the full moon, a queen of the night. So, inspired from the power that moon gives you, especially on a full moon night. So that. And the second last one was, I do live in winter's icy bites, And poetry I cannot write.
Very nice.
So, emotions that I can't articulate are the ones that are probably the real art.
Yes.
So, and the last one, which I felt was like, and a lot of people who read it say that, it's like from deep within. It is not love that I know, or the sound of the falling snow, as much I know bitterness.
Very nice. So these were very nice, a kind of deep emotions, and it's incredible how much you can, convey in just a few lines. So now, Hina, we have some questions from audience's points of view, right? So, as someone who is new to writing haikus, we would like to know about your editing process, right? How do you refine your haikus, ensure they have, they will give a right impact? So,
honestly, before you sit to write a haiku or a general poem also, it's important for you to first diversify what aspects of nature you want to put into your poem. For instance, if I know that I'm talking about summer, I'm talking about the sun, I'm talking about flowers, I'm talking about the birds, chirping in the morning, early morning. So, kind of tone down your elements first, nature elements, and then what do you feel when you see those elements? So, what do you feel when you think of those elements? Like, there's a certain perception. What I might feel when I look at the sun might not be same to what you are feeling. So, I think articulating that is what's firstly more important than putting down the poem. So I think that's how I did it.
You should relate with the elements that you are mentioning in your.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what has been the most surprising feedback you have received from the readers of your book, like about your book?
Be it this one or the one that I wrote before this, the book my first debut poetry book. I've been told that when you meet me, even if it's in professional or personal capacity, I'm a very chirpy, happy-go-lucky, quirky person. And I'm definitely like professional in that sense also. But when you sit to read my poems, they put you in a zone of deep emotions, darkness, or it could also be intense emotions. I think that has been one of the most starking feedback that I've received.
Yeah, so another side of yours get reflected in work. Okay. So, as a marketing professional, this is a very important question. I think most of our authors, wants to know. And being a marketing professional, I think you will be the good one to answer this. So, you have a unique perspective on book promotion, right? Many new authors find it's challenging to promote their work. What advice do you have for them? Should they focus more on sales or on reachability? Like, just try to be focused to have more readership for their books.
See, even if I'm introducing myself, I won't call myself a marketing professional. I look at myself as a storyteller.
Okay.
So even if it's in professional capacity or in personal capacity, I want to be a storyteller. I am a storyteller. So for anybody who's looking to launch a books in specific, think about it as you're telling your story to the world. Like, not just like, for instance, even if it's about launching a book, you don't just launch a book by putting a post about it or clicking a picture and just putting that on your story, your post, and sending it across to your friends. You build a story behind what you're saying. There's always a concept, there's a proper thought behind your book, a thought behind your journey. So talk about that. Build a visual storytelling and not just focus on the product. Like, you are the brand, your book is not the brand. I think that's the biggest thing that people kind of lose sight of. Like, even if you see movies or you see albums that are launched, like music albums that are launched, there's always a proper process that is followed. There's always that certain impact that is made, because they don't just come and they talk about the movie they're doing. They create that kind of inquisitive thing in nature, like they kind of target the audience in a way that the audience kind of creates that interest in their project. So I think that is one thing. Like, you tell your story, don't just sell your book.
Okay. And like we are very much, know about the platforms like Amazon, Flipkart to promote the book. Any other challenge you would like to mention that can be helpful for the authors to be focused on?
I think because I work with social media in and out
Yeah.
every day, I
Hmm.
think one bit that people lose sight of is personalization.
Okay.
For instance, what I'm posting on my Instagram with reference to my book might not work on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
There's always a different tonality which is expected because there are different people who are a part of your connections
Yes.
everywhere. So that bit is something that should be looked into for each of the platform, write or promote in a way that the platform demands, that would work for the platform.
Absolutely. Very well said, Henna. So before wrap up, we would like to know how was your publishing process? Do you have any tips for aspiring authors on navigating the publication journey?
See, I think the publication process was extremely smooth for me. One specific thing that I want to call as a shout out, and I was talking to my mother about this just a few days back, is that for me, I'm the kind of person who likes certain things certain way. Like I'm very particular about certain things, right? And when it came to deciding or getting the cover design, I think I was extremely impressed by how easily that was closed because while I had put down my exact thoughts, given my mood board on, this is what I'm looking at, this, that. But the moment I saw the cover I received, I was extremely impressed by how my thoughts were articulated exactly how I was visualizing it. I think that's just one thing I personally want to call out because it was really nice because when I saw the cover, I was like, this is it, what I was looking for. And that's very rare because for me it's very rare because I am very selective as a person. So yeah.
So thank you so much for your valuable feedback, Henna. So, and to our audience, be sure to check Hina Chana's Solace of Sonnets. Until next time, happy reading and thank you, Hina, for joining us today. Have a great
Thank you so much. You too.